Who is drawn to you? That's going to be our encouragement, our devotional idea. What are the type of people that are trying to get close to you? A few weeks ago, we did a video on you're going to catch what you're fishing for. We talked about that being primarily about relationships. But the truth of the matter is that you're putting out a certain type of energy, a certain type of persona, whether you want to or not, and it's having an effect that's on the people that are around you. And for some people, it's pulling them in, and for other ones, it's pushing them away. And we all do that subconsciously. But that's going to be your idea. We started a story in Luke chapter 5. We're going to read 29 and through 31 and then 32. We're going to talk about it. Here's what it says. Then Levi held a great banquet for Jesus at his house, and a large crowd of tax collectors and others were eating with them. But the Pharisees and teachers of the law who belonged to their sect complained to his disciples, "Why do you eat and drink with the tax collectors and sinners?" Then Jesus answered them, "It's not the healthy who need a doctor, but the sick. I've not come to call the righteous, but the sinners to repentance." See, it's so interesting that when Jesus was here, when he lived, when he walked, when he dealt with people, he was always going to the people that nobody else wanted to be around. That's what we talked about in the last video. And as followers of Jesus, we need to imitate that because we've not done a very good job of that as the church. See, as there's something inside of us that once you've been a follower of Jesus for so long, that becomes the like your whole bubble. And as Jesus would move from city to city to city, from village, teaching and preaching and healing and working with people, there was a number of religious people that followed him around, but they would and they went, and not counting the disciples, but they would go and they would just pick Jesus apart. They didn't like him. The people that liked him were all the people that were not like him at all. Those are the ones that always wanted to be around him. If Jesus really was, and I believe this is true, that he never sinned, he was, perfection, from a sin standpoint, you would think the people that were trying to be good would be the ones that would be drawn to him, but they weren't. They were actually repelled by him. And the people that weren't even trying to live a better life, to be kind, compassionate initially, they were the ones that were drawn to Jesus. And as they spent time with him, their lives began to change. See, I find that so fascinating because we've got this same problem in the church, right? When we only want to be around church people and we don't want to be around all those bad people that are out there. I say that all the time at my church and point out the window. But those are the people, the bad people out there, those are the ones that Jesus went towards. See, I firmly believe if he was alive today, he wouldn't spend time in any of our churches. He wouldn't be visiting, right, the big churches, the little churches, because he'd be so focused on the people that aren't coming to church, which is exactly what he says here. I've not come to call the righteous, but the sinners to repentance. See, if you're a follower of Jesus, this is why we don't get to look down on people. It's why we don't get to judge their beliefs. It's why we don't get to push them away or to protest against. See, as an American citizen, you can do all those things. But as a follower of Jesus, we give up that right to go meet people right where they're at, just like Jesus did, and befriend them, and hopefully over time gain some influence with them. Not manipulation. We take a genuine interest in them, but to gain some influence with them, so that when our life falls apart, they can look at us and go, "How are you still? Why do you still have hope? Why aren't you? Why haven't you fallen apart?" And so we can go, "Well, it's because of Jesus." And they're gonna poo poo on that. I get that. But then one day their life's gonna fall apart, and they're gonna remember you and why yours didn't, and you're going to get a chance to share Jesus with them then. So that's the question we have to ask. Who's drawn to you? Because if it's just a bunch of church people, we're missing something. If the majority of your friends are just people that you go to church with or other followers of Jesus, I think that we're doing something wrong. If the people that don't go to church aren't drawn to you, you and I, we're not being like Jesus. Because the people that were drawn to Jesus are the ones that had very little, wanted very little to do with God initially. Who's drawn to you? Have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.